Are you struggling with feeling stuck in your life journey? Does it seem as if the challenges or conflicts that you keep experiencing are on repeat? Healing through feeling could be your new way through to a more satisfying life. Now, here is the host of the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide, Sharyn Nichols.
Welcome, everyone, to today's show. You are listening to myself, Sharyn Nichols, on the Inspired Choices Network, and my show is Feel to Heal. And today's topic is apologizing, being overly apologetic, saying I'm sorry. And boy, has this been working my tush this entire week. And I'm so excited to share all with you. Although, first, we are going to start with our meditation as we usually do, because I realized today that I needed to start with a meditation as I was going over all of my notes and putting the final touches on the show. I was all over the place. So, I'm going to bring us all back around. I'm going to bring myself back in more into center. So, let's all receive an incredible healing breath, a grounding breath. Inhale. All the way deep into the diaphragm. Feel it, hold it. Exhale. Inhale to the count of 4. Exhale to the count of, hold to the count of 4, Exhale to the count of 4, and then inhale again. And so we will start. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold out, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold out, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. Please remind yourself that this is a time for you and for you alone. So allow no distractions, no worries, no to-do lists to interfere with your time. Receive a breath. Taking a moment to sit back into your seat, your chair, moving your neck around, just getting yourself comfortable in your seat on your sit bones, straightening up your back or relaxing back, whichever is most comfortable for you. Moving into a place of stillness. Beginning now to deepen your breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Again, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Turning your awareness to your legs. Firm, strong beneath you. Feeling, noticing a light above your crown. Having it grow and grow even bigger. This ball of light as it is swirling around you. Feeling it now light as a feather and letting it carry down through your forehead, moving down through your forehead to your mouth. Feel it in your rib cage. Loosen. I know I keep moving. Loosen. As you breathe, it becomes harder and harder to feel yourself anchored as you're lightening yourself. As your body is moving upwards, resist it pulling itself up as the light continues to move down through your arms and your belly. And then when it reaches your hips, visualizing your hips opening and allowing the energy that you're sitting in to hold you. Moving the light through the rest of your body and gently releasing all tension, all tightness through your thighs, your knees, all the way down to your feet. Feeling the freeness, the openness. And now imagine that you are standing in front of a mirror and you begin to see yourself. No rushing through it as you normally would, keeping all your judgmental thoughts away. And whenever you get the impulse to criticize yourself or your appearance or what you're seeing in your mind's eye, resist it and throw it away. It is not serving you now. Look into your eyes' reflection. What do you see? Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you content? Are you excited? Are you calm? Notice and allow whatever you are feeling and what you are seeing in the mirror to flow through you openly. Please don't be afraid to let your reflection cry or be angry or be excited. These emotions are a part of your heart. They are all normal and to be expected. Now, tracing your reflection with your eyes, notice your nose and your lips and your teeth and your skin. Wrapping your hands gently around yourself and giving yourself a big hug, a big squeeze, saying to yourself out loud, I love you. Breathe that in. I love you. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Receiving a few more breaths. And allowing your eyes to open and coming back to this present moment. Breathing in. And breathing out. Being where you are. being open to just feeling, to just being, to the allowing, to the knowing. Thank you. Thank you all so much for allowing me to getting myself centered. It has been such a wonderful moment in time for me with regards to where I find myself today. So I was in the noticing of actually the excitement for myself as I was imagining myself in my mind's eye in the meditation, that I'm so excited that I get to be me today. Because with regards to this topic and apologizing and being overly apologetic and saying I'm sorry and or I apologize and taking responsibility. I know I'd mentioned before in one of my past shows about languaging that saying I'm sorry is about giving empathy, and apologizing is taking responsibility for your actions. And I think I'm sorry gets so overused, way too much. You know, as children, we're conditioned to talk of, first we say, please, I wanted to say, I'm sorry. I wanted to apologize and take responsibility for being all over the place. And so I'm just going to bring myself back to center and laugh at myself. Because first we are taught and told to say please and thank you. We're conditioned. And then we're conditioned to say, I'm sorry. And I knew that this was going to happen during today's show. And so I'm just going to keep saying thank you to myself whenever I feel the need to say I'm sorry, because it is just so ingrained and been so conditioned within myself to do this. I mean, how many, let's raise hands out there. Please don't take hands off the steering wheel, but let's raise hands. How many of us have been so conditioned to say, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry when we do something right. We say, I'm sorry when we do something wrong. We just keep saying, I'm sorry, because we don't ever want to step on anyone else's toes, because we have to apologize for just being. And I think that goes back to also, the belief that children should be seen but never heard. I know I'm getting something wrong there. Anyway, when we come back from break, I'm going to talk more about apologizing, saying I'm sorry, and all of its wonderful interconnectedness. So thank you. You're listening to the Feel to Heal show with myself, Sharyn Nichols, on the Inspired Choices Network. And I look forward to you coming back after break. See you back in a minute or two.
At different times on our life journey, we can feel stuck and struggle with seeing our way through. What if the answer to the struggle is just to go deeper than the surface? By tuning in to Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols, you'll receive insight and guidance on exploring your feelings in order to heal yourself. Are you ready to create a more satisfying, peaceful, and successful life? Listen for the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also ask questions or comments by email by sending to Sharyn Nichols at feeltoheal.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I was just doing a lot of chair dancing on the break because it just energizes me. And I think we also forget. We forget how to be silly. We forget that it's okay to just be yourself. And that's what the biggest thing about today's show is, about moving through the conditioning of I'm sorry and I apologize, and I'm going to get there. I promise. I think I always try to. Again, oh gosh, all I want to do is apologize. I have been with this topic all week. And in fact, actually, this was a show topic that was suggested in the very beginning, and I shied away from it. And so I'm not going to say I'm sorry. What I will say is, let's talk again about the difference between I'm sorry and I apologize. Saying I'm sorry is empathetic. And saying I apologize is taking responsibility. So you could say, I'm so sorry that it's raining on your wedding day. Although that would be really appropriate. Saying I apologize for the rain today, like you had something to do with it. So to me, whenever I think about apologizing or saying I'm sorry, it's like, okay, how much responsibility could I possibly have? Yes, I know I'm very powerful, although haven't perfected the rain dance yet. So then you could you could say, I'm sorry for hitting you with my car, because that would be empathetic, although there's a lack of responsibility. So you would say, I so apologize for hitting you with my car. I mean, again, I know I'm being a bit silly and a bit dramatic, although it's really important to hear yourself and hear how often you say, I am sorry, or I apologize, and how it gets so overused and it's not serving you or the person that you're with. And one of my clients was talking in session, of course, because this is how things work, about the fact that she heard that she overheard her little one going on about, I'm so sorry this, I'm so sorry that. And then she realized that her daughter was hearing her over apologize. And then the light bulb went off. I need to do something about the fact that my child is a sponge, and they keep hearing. So if my child is a sponge, what is the rest of the world? What is this that I am projecting? Is this actually how I want to be showing up in the world? So in doing research for this show, I realized that I was still apologizing for things that I didn't need to apologize for, and that I was calling attention to myself and to things that perhaps didn't even need to be called attention to. And so I also discovered that there's something called the sorry syndrome. Because, of course, there's always a label, there's always a syndrome, there's always a pathology. And so part of that, as me being therapist, makes me laugh, because the labeling, how we label ourselves, oi, is all I have to say. Oi, oi, oi. Can we please stop labeling? Can we please start saying, up until now, this is what I did, and or sometimes I go into this place, because yes, we do. Remember, there's a spectrum. Everything is a polarity. There's good, there's bad, there's yes, there's no, there's up, there's down, there's everything in between. Everything exists. And as soon as you label yourself, you get stuck. And then you get that conditioning that goes on with the labeling. Sorry. I just did it. God damn it. I did not want to. I did not want to say I'm sorry. At least I can laugh at myself. So there's an incredible website called subconsciousservant.com. And this person, I'm sorry, I didn't write down his name. He came up with what is the sorry syndrome. And it's recently a coined term, and now I'm quoting, which can be summed up as the overwhelming need to apologize for every little thing, even if you aren't even to blame for it, and if it's completely out of your control. So people with this syndrome may apologize to the same person frequently throughout an interaction, or may have the word sorry as an automatic response, leading them to apologize accidentally, like I just did, or even to inanimate objects. How many times have you apologized to the wall for banging into it, or hitting the chair, or kicking the table? Because it's just an automatic. And it's in that moments when I'm conscious enough that I then burst out into laughter. If I'm all alone and I apologize to the chair. So 1, you apologize for things that you didn't do. We apologize. We say, I'm sorry, when someone has had a hard day, which we had nothing to do with. Why do we apologize? Why do we say, I'm sorry? I guess we can say, I'm sorry you had a hard day, being empathetic. I'm sorry that your day sucked. That's okay. You say it once and then you move on, because it's not like you need to take responsibility for somebody having a hard day or a bad day, because you know what? Chances are you did too, or the next day will be hard for you. And so we offer empathy, like, I don't know, it's like when everybody receives an award for just showing up. It's like the pendulum has swung the other way. So now we need to swing it back to then bring it back to center. Whereas we take responsibility for what is ours and what we've caused, and we offer empathy only when appropriate. So how often do you find yourself apologizing for the small things? We apologize for the little things because we believe it's part of being polite. Again, how we were conditioned to say please and thank you and I'm sorry. Again, I want to say I'm sorry. because I've just been so conditioned to. How about when we apologize because we want to avoid conflict? This brings us into a whole other realm of what apologizing is about. We apologize, so we just take responsibility, and then we won't have to deal with what the other person may be thinking or feeling, or we can then just control the situation. Although, are we really taking care of ourselves? Or are we just going in a direction, again, that is actually more detrimental than helpful? Avoiding conflict only represses our emotions, and it represses ourselves, and it doesn't allow for the growth, for the opportunity to do something different. Shying away from responsibility, which is why we sometimes say, I'm sorry, rather than taking responsibility and apologizing, isn't really serving us. I mean, this prior to the show and today, with regards to thinking about apologizing and taking responsibility, and I'm doing my best. The silences have been about me not wanting to say I'm sorry because it's just an automatic, or I apologize. I realize I've moved past the I'm sorry part, and I just start off with I apologize, because then it's taking responsibility. So I've accomplished step one by moving off of my spot of I apologize and saying I'm sorry, I'm getting it wrong. I've moved off the spot of I'm sorry to I apologize, and I thought that that's where I was done. I thought I had done. I'm good. The judgment. I only apologize for things that I'm responsible for. And I only say I'm sorry when I'm offering empathy. Although every so often it creeps in, the little I'm sorry bug. And I just wanted to start off by saying, I apologize for just now being me. And that's the next step, is for me to just say, for me to be okay with, and not leading with I need to apologize for myself. I need to apologize for the thoughts that I'm having. I need to just apologize for my existence. That was a big one. That's what this show and this topic did for me this week and today, and where I've been. I never thought I was overly apologetic. I never thought that I'm sorry was the end all be all. Once I got past I take responsibility. I'm so good. I take responsibility for everything that I do to others. And now it's me being okay with who I am, and not having to say I'm sorry or I apologize for just being Sharyn. So when we come back from break, we're going to talk more about this wonderful topic of I'm sorry, I apologize. You're listening to the Feel to Heal show with myself, Sharyn Nichols, on the incredible Inspired Choices Network. See you back in a couple of moments.
At different times on our life journey, we can feel stuck and struggle with seeing our way through. What if the answer to the struggle is just to go deeper than the surface? By tuning in to Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols, you'll receive insight and guidance on exploring your feelings in order to heal yourself. Are you ready to create a more satisfying, peaceful, and successful life? Listen for the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also ask questions or comments by email by sending to Sharyn Nichols at feeltoheal.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm trying to be really excited to talk about apologizing, saying I'm sorry. You know, this one is really, really near and dear, which I didn't even realize to me, because this is sort of the underscore or the basis that I think a lot of women fall into. I'm going to get there more in a moment. Although we feel as though we need to, when we walk into a room or into our house, we just automatically start apologizing for everything in order to keep the peace. I was just reminded of that. When it's just about our own very, very existence of being, because the others around us are not taking responsibility for their part. So it's really about looking in the mirror, holding up that mirror for yourself and saying, okay, where do I need to be giving empathy? And then where do I need to be taking responsibility? So you can give empathy by saying, I am sorry that I am having such a difficult time with this. And that therefore you are feeling the way that you are feeling. And then you can apologize and say, I so apologize that this is really hard for me because I want to be the best I possibly can be. You know, my children have come to me multiple times over the past couple of years since I've been working on deconditioning myself and not apologizing or saying I'm sorry to every little thing, just my own existence. And they tell me where they feel as though I was wrong, or I was not a good mom, or I hurt their feelings, or I said something. And in the past, I would just automatically be like, nope, not going to take responsibility. I'm the adult here. I don't care that I hurt your feelings, even though, of course, I do care. It doesn't matter. I know better, blah, blah, blah. All the things that we were conditioned with as children. I mean, did I just now sound like your parent, perhaps? I don't know. I know. I apologize. I'm getting off track. Goodness. Okay. So another indication that you might have this wonderful syndrome, the I'm sorry syndrome, is that you even apologize when you are making reasonable requests. So if your request is reasonable, for an example, you ask someone at work to make a copy of a document, or you ask your friend to pick up food for you on their way over. You start off with an apology. I apologize that I need you to do this, or I'm sorry if this is now you going out of your way. Hello? Why? Why do we do this? You don't need to answer. You know why. We all know why. Because we want to be liked, we want to be loved, we don't want to inconvenience anybody because we don't like it when we're inconvenienced. So it's about being truthful and honest with yourself. I think I've already beat this one like a dead horse. So, because, you apologize repeatedly. So if you keep saying you're sorry several times during an interaction with a family, friend, member, or colleague, it's also out of nervousness. I know sometimes for me saying I'm sorry, it's because I'm nervous, especially doing the show, even though I've done this now multiple times. I'm still nervous. I'm even nervous for the first couple of seconds before I start a session with a new client or even an existing client, because I'm so open to it not knowing how it's going to go, because it's about letting go of control. It's about allowing. It's about being in the present moment. So give empathy when necessary. Apologize when necessary, only in the moment. Stop doing it because you feel as though there's a void that needs to be filled. Please stop apologizing because you feel as though you're an inconvenience. That's a big one. And I do know that was one of the big things that I was saying I'm sorry for. I just felt taking up space or breathing air, just my own being. What we do to ourselves. So can you please stop apologizing, or start apologizing for yourself, to yourself, and taking responsibility that you over apologize? And you'll know when you over apologize, because sometimes it's just so obvious, and it becomes obvious. It should, and yes, now I am shoulding on you, become obvious to you when people are in the noticing of it. When you have friends and family members and children who are telling you that you need to stop apologizing, or you apologize too much, or you say I'm sorry too much. Again, I know I keep making the distinction between the two. One is offering empathy, and then the other is taking responsibility. So first and foremost, offer yourself empathy. And then second, take responsibility for being where you are. So why do you suppose some people may develop the sorry syndrome? We've learned as children to say, I'm sorry, will end an uncomfortable or a confrontational situation. It's also thought that the sorry syndrome can also stem from being insecure. You may feel out of place or the odd one out, or feeling the pressure to fit in. And I'm sorry can be a lot about low self-esteem. And I do know that that's where a big part of it came for me. I know as I started to feel more confident in myself, that's what made it easier for me to stop saying I'm sorry and start focusing on taking responsibility and apologizing and being more solid in myself and more accepting of myself and my frailties, my shortcomings, my knowing or my acknowledging really that I don't know what I don't know. And it's funny, I was this week, in fact, talking about the fact that when you walk into any new class at the beginning of a semester or the beginning of the hour, you're not supposed to know. There's no apologizing. There's no I'm sorry. You're there to learn. You're there to gain a new skill. You're there to learn a new concept. And quite often, before we even ask the question, we apologize for not knowing. Why? Why? Please lift yourself out of this low self-esteem moment. It's a moment to moment. I'm gathering my thoughts. That's why there was the silence. Thank you for still bearing with me. Notice, I didn't say I'm sorry. I just filled you in as to what was going on and why there was a moment. So, another reason why people can over apologize if they're seeking acceptance. Trust yourself, please. Because every time you say, I'm sorry, and it's not really about empathy, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's about walking in and accepting and knowing who you are. You never, ever need to apologize for you being who you are at your truth, at your core, ever. Sorry syndrome can also be linked to anxiety. I know that I have used the apology over and over again when I've been feeling anxious because I feel as though I need to just apologize for who I am, or because I'm worrying about something, or maybe worrying about the wrong thing, or worrying that you think I should be worrying about something different. So I apologize. We're not on the same page. And as you may notice, that saying I'm sorry is only temporary release, which is why we say it over and over again. Who actually are we trying to convince? Are we trying to convince ourselves or the other person? Again, let's bring it back around into ourselves, into the trusting and the knowing that you are full, whole, and complete as you are, and that nothing is broken. Nothing needs to be fixed. So please stop saying I'm sorry and stop apologizing for just you being you. Thank you so much. You are listening to the Feel to Heal show with myself, Sharyn Nichols, on the Inspired Choices Network. And when we come back from break, I'm going to go even deeper into the rant of apologizing. See you back in a couple of minutes.
At different times on our life journey, we can feel stuck and struggle with seeing our way through. What if the answer to the struggle is just to go deeper than the surface? By tuning in to Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols, you'll receive insight and guidance on exploring your feelings in order to heal yourself. Are you ready to create a more satisfying, peaceful, and successful life? Listen for the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific on Inspired Network.com. This is Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also ask questions or comments by email by sending to Sharyn Nichols at feeltoheal.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for being here and listening to myself, Sharyn Nichols, Feel to Heal show on the incredible Inspired Choices Network. I can't thank you enough for listening to my ranting. And just before break, I was talking about apologizing and saying I'm sorry and ad nauseum. So I'm not going to apologize anymore for talking about apologizing. I do want to, however, comment that there is definitely can be a gender disparity as to who is apologizing more or less than the other. So women are more likely to experience this sorry syndrome more than men. And it truly just comes down to how we were raised and how we were conditioned. You know, boys and girls, we were raised differently. Boys are encouraged to show independence, and then they are rewarded when they show direct and confident behaviors. Girls, on the other hand, still being praised for our behavior because girl power. We've always had the added expectation placed upon us, such as being confident but not being conceited. And that's why I now know I was feeling so having to apologize for just being myself, for just showing up. You know, it's the beginning of the year, and I set goals for myself for the entire year, and I was shooting, and therefore then apologize. I felt as though the need to apologize for me and my shoulds. Again, me just showing up as me. Oh my God. Please, I beg of you, just be yourself and stop beating yourself up. This need to apologize is all just surface. It's the surface. You know when you really need to apologize to someone, when you've really gone deep into hurting them at the core level, not at the surface. And taking responsibility and genuinely apologizing. And when you've needed to genuinely apologize, and when you have genuinely apologized. And I think I mentioned before in one of my other shows with regards to forgiveness. If you genuinely apologize 3 times and the other person is not able to receive your apology, you are absolved. Genuinely. From here, not from here, not from the surface. See, the mind is the surface. Go below. That's why we have to go through the mind, the third eye, the throat, till we get to the heart, which is the bridge to the lower half of the body. Culturally is another reason why we apologize so much. And as I was just so appropriately reminded by my incredible Canadian producer, she said that there's a joke. There's a Canadian joke. Wait, I need to go back. Okay, that the Canadians, that they apologize even when someone else bumps into them. And so Americans, for example, apologize far less than those from the UK or Canada. Argentinians say sorry by inviting the other out for a meal. So in Brazil, a small gift shows you're sorry. China and Russia have multiple different terms for I'm sorry. In Japan, the sincerity of your apology can be judged by how low you bow, whereas the Swedes prefer you forego an apology and simply explain your actions. So you can see where you come from can play a huge part in why you say sorry and how often you do so. As I mentioned before, it's all about conditioning. So yes, it has to do with your gender. Yes, it has to do with how you were raised, where you were raised. Bottom line, be true to yourself. Don't worry about the conflict. Don't worry about your lack of confidence. Don't apologize for just being yourself. Please. You are whole and complete as you are. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. Just be yourself. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity for me to get this. I am so grateful to you for listening. I am so grateful to myself for getting it, for just being present, for just allowing. Oh, I can't say it enough. Thank you. And thank you is another way of acknowledging that someone has done something, that someone has allowed you to just show up as you instead of apologizing for you being yourself. Thank you is another great way to intersect, to just allow for you to show up as you. So you may be hearing me say thank you more than I apologize or I'm sorry when there's a silence, or when I just got lost in my own thoughts for a moment. So thank you. Thank you for listening to myself today, Sharyn Nichols, on the Inspired Choices Network. My incredible show, Feel to Heal, because you must feel how you feel in order to allow yourself to heal and be who you are. I look forward to tuning in with you next week. Next week's show is going to be about failure. It's just another F word. And they're not all bad. Some of them are a lot of fun to say. So we are going to have so much fun next week talking about all the F words. You are listening to the Feel to Heal show on the Inspired Choices Network, and I am Sharyn Nichols, and I so look forward to being with you again next Monday, 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and all the wonderful time zones in between. Take care. Have a great week. You might as well be you. Everyone else is taken.
Thank you for choosing to listen to the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show. Sharyn Nichols will return next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, Give up the struggle, feel all you need to feel, and make this week your best one yet.